They thought she would cower, that she would squeal or shrink away like she always did. But this time, when their hands closed around her collar, she felt something inside her snap hand, something else finally come alive. It started on an ordinary Monday morning. The sun had barely broken through the clouds hanging low over Riverbend High School. And yet Mia Reynolds felt the familiar dread blooming in her chest as she stepped off the bus. She clutched her worn canvas backpack to her chest like a shield, her eyes lowered so she wouldn't accidentally meet anyone's stare. At 16. Mia had mastered the art of invisibility. She was the girl you forgot was in your class. The quiet one who never raised her hand, the one who walked with her shoulders hunched and her steps careful and small. But that didn't mean people left her alone. Hey, it's the mouse. A voice drawled behind her as she made her way toward the side entrance. She recognized that voice instantly. Savannah, who somehow managed to be both beautiful and cruel with equal intensity. Mia's heart stumbled. She thought maybe if she kept walking, if she pretended she hadn't heard. Did you hear me? Mouse. Savannah was closer now. There were footsteps, 3 sets of them. Savannah never came alone. Mia's palms grew clammy around her backpack. Strap. She tightened her hold, swallowing the tightness in her throat. Please, she thought. Not today. But there was no mercy. A hand closed around her shoulder, nails biting into her sweater. Savannah spun her around so fast, Mia nearly lost her footing. She wobbled, catching herself. A laugh rippled through the little group. Savannah, Donnie with her neon pink hair, and Kendra with her wide, greedy eyes. Savannah looked Mia up and down as though inspecting a particularly disappointing insect. You got my homework. I didn't. You didn't do it? Savannah's eyebrows shot up, her lips parting in mock outrage. I asked you to do one simple thing, Mia. I had to study, Mia whispered. Savannah's gaze turned flat and cold. She took a step closer. That wasn't a request. Mia's chest ached. She felt the heat of humiliation crawling up her neck, burning her ears. It was always like this. She'd try to stand her ground just a little and they'd find new ways to remind her she didn't belong, that she was small and soft and easy to hurt. Kendra nudged Savannah's elbow. Rip it off, she said, giggling. What? Her necklace, the little charm, looks cheap. Savannah tilted her head, her smile slow and poisonous. She reached out and grabbed the silver chain at Mia's throat. The charm was a tiny lotus blossom, a gift from Mia's mother the year before she died. Mia wore it every day, tucked under her shirt, close to her heart. Don't, she blurted, her voice sharp with panic. The other girls laughed. Savannah gave the chain a little tug. I said. Mia's hands flew up, grabbing Savannah's wrist. Savannah's eyes glittered. Look at that. The mouse has claws. She yanked harder. The chain bit into the back of Mia's neck. Something in Mia's chest snapped wide open like a door she'd kept locked her whole life. Mia barely thought. She moved. It was as if her body remembered what her mind had been too scared to claim. Months of judo classes in the small, musty dojo her father had signed her up for after her mother's funeral. Months of feeling ridiculous, of failing, of getting thrown to the mat and standing up again. All of it surged back in that one desperate moment. Mia twisted her hips, her hands snapping into position. One palm slammed against Savannah's elbow, the other locked around her wrist in a grip so precise it shocked her own senses. She shifted her weight. Pivoted, Savannah screamed as her wrist folded in a direction it was never meant to bend. In the same instant, Mia heard Donnie behind her shout, "Let her go," as she lunged forward. Mia's body reacted, clean and automatic. She released Savannah's arm, heard the girl stumble back, sobbing, and turned. Donnie's hand shot out, grabbing for Mia's collar. This time, she was ready. She trapped Donnie's arm in hers, stepping under it and pulling forward. Donnie's feet left the ground. The world seemed to go silent as she flipped over Mia's shoulder and landed flat on her back with a hollow thump that echoed across the courtyard. Kendra screamed. Savannah was still clutching her arm, tears streaking her mascara. Donnie lay on the asphalt, gasping in pain, her eyes wide and wild. Mia realized she was shaking, not with fear but something that felt suspiciously like power. She straightened her spine. She looked Savannah in the eye for the first time. "Don't touch me again," she said. Her voice was low, steady. Then she turned and walked away. By the time she reached the school entrance, her legs were trembling. She ducked into the empty hallway and pressed her back against the wall, fighting to slow her breathing. It didn't feel real. What had she just done? But even through her shock, she felt it like a small flame finally flickering to life in the darkness. The rumor spread through the school like wildfire. By lunchtime, everyone was talking about how the shy girl Mouse Muir had flipped Donnie James like a sack of potatoes and nearly broken Savannah's wrist. Some of the stories were embellished, of course. Someone said she'd knocked out 3 teeth. Another claimed she was a secret black belt assassin. But no matter how distorted the gossip became, the core of it was true. She'd stood up for herself. That afternoon, Mia sat alone at her usual table by the library windows. She picked at her sandwich without tasting it. Asterisk, she wondered what her mum would have said if she'd been there to see it. Asterisk, she could almost picture her face, warm brown eyes crinkling at the corners, her smile tender. You're stronger than you think, Mia. Her throat tightened. She didn't see him approach. Asterisk, hey. Asterisk, Mia looked up, startled. It was Gabriel Torres, the quiet boy from her English class. He had wavy hair that fell into his eyes and a soft voice she'd always liked, though she'd never admitted it to anyone. Asterisk, he shifted awkwardly, holding his tray like a shield. Mind if I sit? Asterisk, she blinked. I'm sure. Asterisk, Gabriel sat across from her for a moment. Neither of them spoke. He picked at the corner of his sandwich, then looked up and met her gaze. Asterisk, that was amazing, he said finally. Asterisk, heat bloomed. In her cheeks it wasn't. I don't know. I didn't want them to take my necklace. Asterisk, it doesn't matter why. You stood up to them. His voice was gentle but insistent. Everyone's been scared of Savannah for years. You were the only one brave enough to stop her. Asterisk, Mia looked down at her hands. They were still faintly trembling. I don't feel brave. Asterisk, maybe brave isn't something you feel, Gabriel said quietly. Maybe it's just something you do, she swallowed, feeling her heart give a small, hopeful lurch. Asterisk, the fallout was swift. Savannah and Donnie didn't come to school the next day. Kendra slunk around with her head down, refusing to meet anyone's eyes. Asterisk, and Mia. Asterisk, she kept expecting to feel regret, or shame, or fear of retaliation. But as the days passed, she realized something had shifted irrevocably. Asterisk, people looked at her differently now. Not everyone was kind. Some kids sneered when she walked by, and others whispered behind their hands, but there was a new respect in the air. Asterisk, in her judo class that evening, her sensei clapped her on the shoulder with a solemn nod. You did well, he said simply. Mia hesitated. It wasn't like in practice I was angry. Asterisk, his lined face softened. Technique without spirit is nothing. You protected yourself, that is why you train. For the first time since she'd started, she felt she truly understood. Asterisk, Savannah returned to school the following Monday with her wrist wrapped in a brace. She didn't approach Mia. She didn't even look her way. Word was that she'd been grounded, that her parents were furious, that she might be transferring schools by the end of the semester. Asterisk, Mia didn't wish her any harm, but she also didn't feel sorry. Asterisk, one afternoon, as she was gathering her books to leave, she felt someone hovering beside her locker. She turned, and to her surprise, Kendra stood there, wringing her hands. Mia waited. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, Kendra blurted, her voice cracking. For everything I didn't think you'd ever fight back. Mia closed her locker slowly. You shouldn't have needed me to, she said. Her voice didn't shake, but thanks. Asterisk, Kendra nodded, looking both ashamed and relieved, then hurried away down the hall. Spring bloomed across the town, softening the hard edges of winter. The first day the trees burst into pale pink blossoms. Mia stood outside the dojo after practice, breathing in the cool evening air. Asterisk, she still wasn't loud. She still wasn't the kind of girl who raised a hand first, or who filled the room with her voice. But she no longer walked with her shoulders hunched, no longer felt the need to fold herself up into the smallest version she could be. Asterisk, Gabriel waited for her by the sidewalk, hands in his pockets. When she spotted him, he smiled and lifted a hand. Hey, Sensei Mouse, he teased when she approached. She laughed, a real laugh, bright and unguarded. I'm never going to live that down, am I? Asterisk, he shook his head. Nope, you'll always be the girl who flipped Donnie James on her back. Mia looked up at the dusky sky, the last streaks of pink fading into blue. I'm okay with that, she said softly. Asterisk, Gabriel studied her face. You should be. Asterisk, he hesitated, then added, you know you're not alone anymore. She felt her heart expand, filling every fragile place she used to keep hidden. Yeah, she whispered. I know. And as they started walking home side by side, she realized something that made her throat ache with relief.